The warm saliva hits my cheek with a wet splat. I freeze in the executive conference room, my mind struggling to process what just happened. Marcus Reed, my direct supervisor, just spat in my face. The two board members sitting at the polished table gasp in horror. My heartbeat thunders in my ears as the silence stretches forever. "You think you deserve this account?" Marcus snarls, his face red with rage. "You're nothing but a little girl playing dress-up in mommy's business clothes." I can't move, can't speak. The Wellington Industries account, our biggest client worth $50 million annually, was supposed to be my moment. The board chose me over Marcus to lead it. Now warm spit drips down my face onto my navy blazer, staining the fabric with his hatred. Board member Mary Steele stands up slowly, her phone in her hand. I notice she's been recording everything, but I don't know if this helps or hurts me. Security appears at the door like magic. As they escort Marcus out, he turns back with a twisted smile that chills me to the bone. "This isn't over, Lily Cox. You have no idea what you've started. My life will never be the same." 3 months ago, everything was perfect. I had just closed the Ventura deal, my third major win in 6 months. At 34, I was the youngest senior account manager in Kingston & Associates history. The Christmas party was in full swing when Marcus cornered me by the bar, his cologne mixed with alcohol creating a nauseating cloud around him. "You think you're so special, don't you, Lily?" His breath reeked of whiskey. "But I've been here 10 years. Remember that." I laughed it off then, thinking it was just holiday jealousy. Marcus had always been competitive, but I never thought he truly hated me. Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs. The way he would interrupt me in meetings, how he would dismiss my ideas, then present them as his own the next week with minor modifications. Yesterday, while going through old emails for the Wellington presentation, I found something shocking. Marcus had tried to sabotage the Ventura deal by sending false information to the client. He told them our timeline was impossible, and our budget was inflated. I had fixed it without realizing what happened, thinking it was just a miscommunication. Now I understand the truth. Marcus has been trying to destroy me for months, systematically undermining every success I achieved. 2 weeks before the spitting incident, CEO Robert Kingston called me into his office. The corner office had floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Kingston sat behind his massive oak desk, smiling warmly while afternoon sunlight streamed across his silver hair. "Lily, Wellington Industries specifically requested you after hearing about your innovative campaign strategies." My heart soared. Wellington was the account Marcus had been gunning for 2 years, but the client didn't want him. They wanted me, specifically asking for my creative approach to their rebranding campaign. "This could make or break our agency," Kingston continued. "I need someone I can trust completely. Are you ready for this challenge?" I accepted immediately, my voice steady despite my racing pulse. This was my chance to prove myself at the highest level. As I left Kingston's office, I felt like I could conquer the world, my confidence soaring to new heights. What I didn't know was that Marcus had been listening outside the door. His ear pressed against the wood, hearing every word. While I celebrated in my cubicle, he was already planning his revenge with calculated precision. Later, I discovered Marcus had been telling other colleagues that I was sleeping with Kingston to get ahead. The lie spread through the office like wildfire, poisoning relationships I'd built over years. People started looking at me differently, whispering behind my back. The morning of the board meeting, Marcus seemed unusually friendly. He even offered to help me prepare my presentation. I should have known something was wrong when he kept checking his watch and smiling that predatory grin I'd learned to fear. "You should practice in conference room B," he insisted, his tone falsely helpful. "Room A is being cleaned." The man who had ignored me for months suddenly wanted to support me. I was so nervous about the presentation that I didn't question his sudden kindness. Marcus watched me walk toward conference room B, his smile growing wider with each step, like a spider watching its prey enter the web. 20 minutes later, my assistant burst into the room, her face flushed with panic. "Lily, the board has been waiting for you in conference room A. They're not happy." My stomach dropped. I grabbed my materials and ran down the hallway, my heels clicking frantically on the marble floor. When I burst into room A, All 5 board members looked annoyed. Mary Steele glanced at her watch pointedly, her expression cold and professional. "Miss Cox, we were beginning to think you forgot about us." I stammered an apology, my cheeks burning with embarrassment. Marcus had deliberately sent me to the wrong room. From the very beginning, he was setting me up to fail, orchestrating my humiliation with surgical precision. Now I sit in my car, in the company parking garage, still feeling the phantom wetness on my cheek. My phone buzzes constantly with messages from colleagues who already heard about the incident. Some are supportive, others clearly taking Marcus's side, creating a divide that splits the office in half. "Are you okay?" Texts Sarah from accounting. "I can't believe he did that," writes Tom from marketing. But there are other messages too. "Maybe you pushed him too far," suggests one coworker. "Marcus is a good guy under stress," claims another, making me question my own reality. My phone rings. It's my assistant Jessica, her voice trembling with nervousness. "Lily, I have bad news," she says quietly. "Wellington Industries just canceled their meeting for tomorrow. They're reassessing their partnership needs." My heart sinks. The account I fought so hard to win is already slipping away. Marcus's plan is working perfectly. He assaulted me, got suspended, but still managed to destroy my career in one swift motion. HR wants to see me in an hour. Despite being the victim, I know I'm about to be treated like the problem. Companies always protect themselves first, sacrificing employees to avoid lawsuits. I wipe my face and check my reflection in the mirror. Time to fight back with everything I have. HR Director Janet Mills sits across from me, her expression carefully neutral. Her office smells like vanilla candles and disappointment. The motivational posters on her walls seem to mock me with their empty promises of workplace fairness and respect. "Lily, we need to think about what's best for everyone," Janet says softly. "Marcus has been under a lot of stress lately. His wife is sick, and he's dealing with financial problems." I stare at her in disbelief. She's making excuses for a man who spat in my face during a board meeting. "Maybe if you could just move past this incident," she continues. "I think you should take a leave of absence to let things cool down." The message is clear. They want me to disappear quietly while they figure out how to bring Marcus back. I'm the inconvenient victim who's making everyone uncomfortable with my insistence on consequences. I nod and smile, pretending to consider her suggestion. But my phone is recording everything under the table, every word of Janet trying to cover up the assault and blame me for the company's problems. "I'll think about it," I lie, my voice steady despite my racing heart. Janet relaxes, thinking she's won. She has no idea that her own words will be used against her later in court proceedings. Mary Steele approaches me in the parking lot after my HR meeting. She's a tall woman with silver hair and sharp eyes that miss nothing, her professional demeanor commanding respect from everyone who meets her. "Lily, we need to talk," she says quietly, glancing around to make sure we're alone. Mary reveals she's been watching Marcus for months. His temper tantrums, credit stealing, and inappropriate comments to female staff haven't gone unnoticed by everyone on the board. "I want to help you," she says, "but you need to know that 3 other board members are Marcus's golf buddies. This fight won't be easy." Then she drops a bombshell. Marcus has been embezzling small amounts from client expense accounts. Mary has some proof, but needs more evidence to present to the board for a formal investigation. He's been taking money for personal dinners, golf memberships, even his son's college textbooks, she explains. But he's clever about it, small amounts that look like legitimate business expenses. Mary hands me a business card with elegant lettering. "This is a forensic accountant I trust. If you're serious about fighting back, you'll need professional help." I take the card, my hands shaking slightly. This is bigger than just the spitting incident. Marcus is a criminal who's been stealing from the company for years. Instead of taking leave, I return to work the next morning. The whispers start immediately. People stop talking when I walk by. Some colleagues offer supportive smiles, others avoid eye contact completely, afraid of being associated with the office drama. I decide to request a transfer to a different department while building my case against Marcus. But when I submit the paperwork, I discover something shocking. Marcus has been promoted to senior director, essentially becoming my boss again. How is this possible? I ask Janet, trying to keep my voice steady while anger burns in my chest. The board felt Marcus needed more responsibility to channel his energy positively, she explains without meeting my eyes. The absurdity hits me like a truck. The man who assaulted me got a promotion while I'm being pushed toward the exit. The company is rewarding his violent behavior with advancement and increased salary. At lunch, I overhear two coworkers talking by the coffee machine, their voices carrying across the break room. I heard Lily had a nervous breakdown and attacked Marcus first, one says. Yeah, apparently she's been unstable for months, the other responds. Half the office believes Marcus's version of events. He's rewritten history, making himself the victim and me the aggressor. I realize I'm fighting not just for my job, but for my reputation and sanity in an increasingly hostile environment. My phone rings during lunch. The caller ID shows Wellington Industries. My heart races as I answer, hoping for good news but preparing for more disappointment. Miss Cox? This is Patricia Wong, CEO of Wellington Industries. Patricia's voice is warm but professional. She explains that Marcus had been calling her personally, bad-mouthing my abilities and trying to convince Wellington to request him instead of me for their account. I was disgusted by his unprofessional behavior, Patricia says. We specifically asked for you because of your reputation in the industry. Your work on the Morrison campaign was brilliant. I almost cry with relief. At least one person sees through Marcus's lies and recognizes my actual contributions to the company's success. Miss Cox, I'm going to be direct. We'd like to offer you a position at Wellington Industries, Senior Vice President of Strategic Accounts. The offer is tempting, more money, more respect, escape from this nightmare. But I realize leaving now would look like I'm running away. Marcus would win by default, and he'd be free to hurt other women without consequences. Thank you, Miss Wong, but I need to finish what I started here first. I understand, she says with genuine respect. When you're ready, the offer stands. The call gives me hope that justice might actually be possible in this corrupt system. I start documenting everything methodically. Every inappropriate comment, every stolen idea, every suspicious expense. The evidence against Marcus is overwhelming once I start looking with fresh eyes and a detective's attention to detail. I discover Marcus has been using the company credit card for personal expenses. Dinners with his wife, at expensive restaurants, golf memberships at exclusive clubs, even his son's college textbooks, all charged to Kingston and Associates, without authorization. I also find emails where he takes credit for campaigns I developed. The Morrison account strategy that impressed Wellington? That was my idea, but Marcus presented it as his own creation in multiple client presentations. The evidence is damning, but I need someone in authority to care. Most of the leadership team are Marcus's friends from years of networking and shared interests. My computer chimes with a new email. It's from Linda, Marcus's secretary. The subject line is blank, but there's an attachment that makes my heart skip a beat. I can't stay silent anymore, the message reads. This contains 3 years of his deleted emails. You didn't get this from me. I download the USB drive contents with shaking hands. The files reveal Marcus calling me and other female employees vulgar names. He called Sarah the office bike and referred to me as Little Miss Perfect, who needs to be taught her place. Now I have him trapped with his own words and documented criminal behavior spanning multiple years. Marcus calls me into his new corner office. The space is twice the size of my cubicle, with expensive furniture and a view of the city. He sits behind his desk like a king on his throne, savoring his newfound power over my career. Lily, let's be adults about this, he says with a fake smile that doesn't reach his cold eyes. You misunderstood what happened in the conference room. I was having an emotional moment. He offers me a deal. Apologize publicly for misunderstanding the incident, accept a demotion to junior account manager, and he'll make sure I keep my job at reduced pay and responsibilities. Think about it, he continues. You're a single woman with a mortgage. You can't afford to be unemployed in this economy. When I refuse, his mask slips. The fake friendliness disappears, replaced by cold rage that makes his eyes look dead and calculating. Then I'll fire you for performance issues. I've been building a case against you for weeks. As he talks, I notice something strange. His office is full of items that should be in the supply room. expensive pens, a tablet, even a $3,000 laptop meant for client presentations sits casually on his credenza. Marcus isn't just embezzling money, he's stealing equipment too, treating the company like his personal shopping mall. I need time to think, I lie, standing to leave. Marcus's smile returns. He thinks he's won this battle and the entire war for my professional future. I hire a private investigator with my savings. Detective Ray Morrison comes highly recommended for corporate fraud cases. He's a thin man with tired eyes who speaks in careful, measured sentences and carries himself like someone who's seen too much corporate corruption. Give me 2 weeks, he says after reviewing my evidence. If there's more to find, I'll find it. Detective Morrison discovers that Marcus has been running a side consulting business using Kingston and Associates resources. He's been stealing client contacts and funneling potential customers to his own company while pretending to be unsuccessful at Kingston. He's got a whole operation going, Morrison explains. Fake letterhead, separate phone lines, the works. He's been stealing your company's clients for over a year. But there's more disturbing news. Marcus is in serious financial trouble. His house is in foreclosure, and he owes money to several creditors. His wife's medical bills have bankrupted them completely, creating a desperate situation. Desperate people do desperate things, Morrison warns. Be careful. He's got nothing left to lose. The puzzle pieces fall into place. Marcus didn't just want the Wellington account for his ego. He needed it to save his failing business and his family's financial future. When I got chosen instead, I became the enemy who destroyed his last chance. His assault wasn't just anger, it was the act of a cornered animal fighting for survival. Marcus strikes first. He files a formal complaint against me, claiming I've been harassing him since the alleged incident and creating a hostile work environment. The irony is obvious, but HR takes his complaint seriously despite the overwhelming evidence against him. Miss Cox, we're putting you on administrative leave pending investigation, Janet tells me. This is standard procedure. I'm escorted from the building like a criminal. My keycard is deactivated, my computer access revoked. Colleagues watch from their desks as security walks me to the parking garage, some looking sympathetic while others seem to enjoy my downfall. That evening, I discover something shocking on my laptop. Marcus has been catfishing me on a professional networking site for weeks. Using a fake profile with a stock photo, he tried to get me to share confidential client information. Hi Lily, I'm starting a consulting business and would love to pick your brain about the Wellington account. One message reads, I heard you're the expert on Morrison Industries. Any tips for approaching them? Asks another. Marcus was building a case against me for sharing trade secrets while simultaneously trying to trick me into actually doing it. If I had fallen for his trap, he could have destroyed my career and stolen our clients legally. The man is more dangerous than I ever imagined, combining criminal behavior with sophisticated psychological manipulation to destroy his perceived enemies. During my forced leave, I reach out to other former female employees who left Kingston and Associates. Each has a story about Marcus that makes my blood boil and reveals a pattern of systematic harassment spanning years. Jennifer quit after Marcus told her she was too emotional for client meetings. Susan left when Marcus stole credit for her entire campaign strategy. Rachel has the worst story of all, one that makes me physically sick. He cornered me in the supply closet 2 years ago. Rachel tells me over coffee, her hands shaking as she speaks. Pressed himself against me and said I'd get better assignments if I was nicer to him. She never reported it because she needed the job to support her sick mother. But now she's ready to speak up and help prevent other women from suffering. If it helps stop him from doing this to other women, I'll testify, she says firmly. I'm building an army of witnesses. Marcus thought he was fighting one woman, but he's actually fighting a decade of victims who finally have someone brave enough to lead the charge against his reign of terror. There's a lawyer who specializes in workplace harassment, Jennifer suggests. Amanda Wolfe. She's expensive, but she wins. That afternoon, I call Amanda Wolfe's office. If Marcus wants a war, he'll get one with professional legal representation. Mary Steele suggests we need public pressure to force the board's hand. She knows a local business journalist who's been investigating workplace harassment in our industry and looking for a compelling story to expose the problem. Rebecca Torres at the Business Chronicle, Mary explains. She's been looking for a story like yours. I agree to an interview, knowing it might end my career, but could save other women from Marcus's abuse. Rebecca meets me at a quiet coffee shop downtown. She's younger than I expected, with kind eyes and a recorder that looks older than she is. This is bigger than just your story, Rebecca explains after I finish talking. The Department of Labor is already investigating Kingston and Associates for gender discrimination. Your case could be the final piece they need. My heart pounds. This isn't just about Marcus anymore. The entire company could be in trouble for creating a culture that enabled his abusive behavior for years. Are you sure you want to do this? Rebecca asks. Once this story runs, there's no going back. I think about all the women Marcus has hurt, all the future victims who could be saved if someone finally stands up to him with courage and determination. Run the story, I say firmly, knowing this decision will change everything forever. The article goes live on the Business Chronicle website at 6 a.m. By noon, it's been shared thousands of times on social media. The headline reads, "Culture of Silence, How One CEO Protected an Abusive Manager." Comments pour in from women sharing similar experiences at other companies. The piece details my story and includes statements from Rachel, Jennifer, and Susan. The phones at Kingston Associates don't stop ringing. Reporters, lawyers, and angry clients all want answers about the company's handling of harassment complaints. CEO Robert Kingston calls me personally, his voice shaking with rage and desperation as his company's reputation crumbles in real time. "You violated your confidentiality agreement by speaking to the press," he screams. "We're going to sue you for every penny you have." I stay calm, remembering my lawyer's advice. "Mr. Kingston, I reported workplace harassment. That's protected speech under federal law." But Kingston's threat reveals something important. The company knew about Marcus's behavior all along. They've been protecting him despite knowing he was dangerous to female employees. My phone buzzes with a text from Amanda Wolf. "Just got off the phone with Kingston's lawyers. They're scared. We have them on the run." The war has officially begun, and public opinion is clearly on my side as more women come forward with their own stories. Wellington Industries announces they're severing ties with Kingston and Associates, citing concerns about the company's workplace culture. Patricia Wong issues a statement calling my treatment unacceptable and disturbing, making it clear that major clients won't tolerate harassment. 2 other major clients follow suit within 24 hours. Morrison Industries and Ventura Corp. both terminate their contracts immediately. The agency is hemorrhaging money and reputation as more companies distance themselves from the scandal. I learned from Rebecca Torres that Marcus had been telling these clients that Kingston was planning to sell the company. He convinced them to be prepared for major staff changes, positioning himself as the stable choice during uncertain times. He was playing both sides, Rebecca explains, sabotaging the agency's reputation while making himself look like the solution. My phone rings constantly with job offers from competitors who want to hire the woman who brought down Marcus Reed. But I'm not ready to celebrate yet. Marcus is still employed, still dangerous, and still planning his next move. That evening, I get a threatening voicemail from an unknown number that makes my blood run cold. "You have no idea what you've done," the voice hisses. "This isn't over." I recognize Marcus's voice immediately. I save the message and forward it to Detective Morrison. Making threats is a crime, and Marcus just gave me more evidence for the prosecutors building a case against him. Several employees at Kingston and Associates stage a walkout, demanding Marcus be fired and I be reinstated. The local news covers the protest, showing 23 employees with signs reading "Justice for Lily" and "Fire Marcus Reed." The demonstration attracts national attention to workplace harassment issues. The board calls an emergency meeting. Mary Steele presents all the evidence I've gathered: the financial irregularities, client manipulation, and threatening behavior. The USB drive from Linda contains enough proof to send Marcus to prison for multiple federal crimes. "How long has this been going on?" Board member Charles Morrison demands, his face red with anger. "Too long. Mary responds firmly. We failed in our duty to protect our employees. During the meeting, Marcus has a public meltdown. He barges into the boardroom screaming at Mary Steele, calling her another hysterical woman who doesn't understand business. His face is purple with rage, spittle flying from his mouth. His outburst is witnessed by all 5 board members. The man who claimed to be professional and stable reveals his true nature in front of the people who decide his fate. Security escorts Marcus from the building for the second time in a month. This time, he doesn't come back, leaving behind only threats and broken careers. That evening, Mary calls me personally. The board voted unanimously. Marcus Reed is terminated effective immediately. Marcus's lawyer sends me a cease and desist letter, threatening to sue me for defamation. He claims I've destroyed his reputation with false accusations and demands I recant my statements publicly within 72 hours or face legal consequences. My lawyer, Amanda Wolf, responds by filing a formal assault charge and a civil suit for workplace harassment. The case becomes public record, attracting even more media attention to the systematic problems at Kingston and Associates. Let him try to prove his reputation was good, Amanda laughs during our meeting. We have enough evidence to destroy him in court. But Marcus's legal troubles are just beginning. The FBI has opened an investigation into his embezzlement scheme. His side business violated federal wire fraud laws when he used interstate communication to steal clients and manipulate business relationships. The most satisfying news comes from Amanda's investigator. Marcus's lawyer dropped him as a client when the evidence of embezzlement came to light. No reputable law firm will take his case, forcing him to represent himself in both criminal and civil proceedings. A man who represents himself has a fool for a client, Amanda quotes with a smile. Marcus thought he was fighting a scared woman with no resources. Instead, he's fighting the federal government, skilled prosecutors, and public opinion, and he's losing badly on every front. Kingston and Associates offers me a substantial settlement to make everything go away quietly. They'll fire Marcus, give me his job as senior director, and pay all my legal fees. The offer includes a salary increase of 40%. This is a good deal, Lily, Amanda explains. You'd get everything you wanted: money, position, vindication. I'm tempted. The settlement would solve my financial problems and give me the career advancement I deserved. But there's a catch buried in the legal language. The settlement includes a non-disclosure agreement that would prevent other victims from using my case in their own lawsuits. Taking the money would betray every woman Marcus might hurt in the future. I need time to think, I tell Amanda. That night, I call Rachel, Jennifer, and Susan. I explain the settlement offer and ask for their advice. Take the money, Jennifer says immediately. You've done enough. But Rachel disagrees. If you settle quietly, Marcus learns that he can buy his way out of consequences. What about the next woman he hurts? I realize Rachel is right. This isn't just about me anymore. I turn down the settlement and make my decision public through Rebecca Torres. The story runs with the headline, "Harassment Victim Rejects Settlement to Help Other Women." The article inspires other victims to speak out. I'm not just fighting for myself anymore, I'm quoted as saying. I'm fighting to change the culture that allowed Marcus Reed to abuse his power for years. The story gains national attention as an example of one woman's fight against workplace harassment. Interview requests pour in from major news networks and women's magazines. The same day my decision goes public, I get a call that changes everything. Miss Cox, this is David Hamilton from Titan Industries. We'd like to offer you a position as Vice President of Client Relations. The salary is double what I made at Kingston and Associates. The company has an excellent reputation for treating employees fairly. Why me? I ask, still suspicious after months of fighting. Because you proved you have integrity, David explains. Anyone can close deals, but not everyone will sacrifice personal gain to protect others. I accept the position immediately. The FBI investigation moves quickly once they have Linda's USB drive and Detective Morrison's evidence. Marcus's side business involved stealing client ideas and selling them to competitors across state lines, making it a federal crime. Criminal charges are filed for wire fraud, embezzlement, and tax evasion. The prosecutors estimate Marcus stole over $200,000 from Kingston & Associates and their clients. This is more extensive than we initially thought, FBI agent Sarah Kim tells me during my victim impact interview. Mr. Reed has been running a criminal enterprise for over 3 years. Marcus tries to blame his crimes on me, claiming I drove him to desperation with my false accusations. He gives a rambling interview to a local blogger, insisting he's the victim of a feminist conspiracy. The lie is so absurd that even his few remaining supporters abandon him. His wife files for divorce, citing emotional abuse and financial recklessness. His adult children release a statement, distancing themselves from their father's actions. Marcus is truly alone now, facing federal prison with no friends, no family, and no money for a decent lawyer. Marcus's criminal trial begins 6 months later. The courthouse is packed with reporters and supporters wearing justice for Lily buttons. I testify about the assault and its aftermath, my voice steady despite my racing heart. The prosecution presents evidence of his financial crimes, including forged documents and fake invoices. Marcus, representing himself, tries to paint me as a vindictive employee seeking revenge. "Isn't it true that you wanted my client's job?" he asks during cross-examination, his voice desperate. "Mr. Reed," I respond calmly, "I earned the Wellington account on merit. You lost it because of your behavior." He makes the fatal mistake of asking if I enjoyed destroying his life. My response becomes a viral moment that cements public opinion against him. "Mr. Reed, you destroyed your own life. I simply made sure there were consequences." The courtroom erupts in applause. The judge bangs his gavel, but even he seems impressed by my composure. Marcus's face turns red with rage, but there's nothing he can do. His own words have convicted him. The jury deliberates for less than 4 hours. Marcus is found guilty on all counts of fraud and embezzlement. He's sentenced to 3 years in federal prison and ordered to pay full restitution to his victims. Kingston & Associates settles my civil suit for an undisclosed amount that covers my legal fees and compensates me for the trauma I endured. Robert Kingston resigns in disgrace, and Mary Steele becomes the new CEO. In a final act of delusion, Marcus appeals his conviction and gives a jailhouse interview claiming he's the victim of a feminist conspiracy. The interview backfires spectacularly when he breaks down crying on camera. "I'm not a bad person," he sobs. "I just made some mistakes." The interview becomes a cautionary tale about toxic masculinity in the workplace. Business schools use it as an example of how not to handle workplace conflicts. Marcus's pathetic display eliminates any remaining sympathy for him. He's transferred to a minimum security prison, where he'll serve his full sentence. The man who once held power over my career is now a convicted felon, scrubbing floors for 20 cents an hour. 1 year later, I'm standing in my new office at Titan Industries, looking out at the city skyline. I've transformed the company's culture, implementing anti-harassment policies that become an industry model. My book about the experience, Spit in the Face, One Woman's Fight for Justice, becomes a bestseller. I speak at conferences nationwide, inspiring other women to stand up against workplace abuse. Marcus is in prison, his wife has remarried, and his consulting business has been liquidated to pay restitution. He writes me letters from jail that I throw away without reading. Today's mail brings something different. A letter from a young woman starting her career. "Thank you for proving that victims can fight back and win," she writes. "Your story gave me the courage to report my boss's inappropriate behavior. He was fired last week." I smile, realizing my story isn't about revenge anymore. It's about justice and creating a world where no other woman has to endure what I did. My phone rings. It's Patricia Wong from Wellington Industries. "Lily, we'd like to discuss an exclusive partnership with Titan Industries," she says. The same account that started this nightmare is now the crown jewel of my new career. As I sign the papers later that day, I think about the moment Marcus spat on me. He thought he was destroying my future, but instead he freed me to build something better. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well.